Welcome to our new session. The previous session we were talking about various type of risks, and probably we'll be speaking about a measurement of this risk and how can a person actually benefit if he really understands this kind of risks. Now, the major two risks which we were actually speaking are, one is beta, which is also called your systematic risk or the non-diversifiable risk, which means if a person is doing some kind of investments in the market, definitely the volatility also has to be faced because markets are going to go up or down, and the economic scenario also is going to move up or down. Then there is something called alpha. Now this is alpha, of course this symbol everybody knows, but it is also called fund manager's risk. Now what is fund manager's risk and how is it actually measured? Basically, if you talk to any fund manager, that is a portfolio manager or a mutual fund fund manager or any kind of any person who is actually managing others' money, if you talk to them, they will generally say, I delivered 2% alpha, I delivered 5% alpha, or I delivered 10% alpha. What is this alpha? Now, when he says 2% alpha, it means he has delivered 2% above the benchmark. Now you will, next question be probably thinking is what is benchmark? Now just let me give you a small example. Say a child is getting 80% in a class and he goes to his parents and shows the progress report, and the parents had an expectation of 100%. Nowadays parents have 105% expectation out of 100. That is altogether a different thing, but still parents might have had at least 90% plus expectation and the child has got 80%. They might scream at him, they might be unhappy, but when they find that the class average itself is only 60%, which means the question paper would have been so tough that many people would have failed. Many children would have definitely failed. That's the reason class average itself is only 60%, and there might be very few people, very few children rather, who would have got more than 60%, and hence the average is 60. Now comparing the 60 as your benchmark, the class average as benchmark, it is very clear that the paper has been tough, and hence if this particular child has got 80 marks, it is actually a wonderful job which he has done. So he needs to be appreciated for that. Same way, a child who is generally getting only 40 or 50 marks gets suddenly 80 marks, and the parents first of all should be thinking, how can he get so high? First thing, has he really studied well? Now if they go to school and find out that the class average itself is more than 80 and he has got 80, which means the paper would have been so easy, and hence he has though he has not done actually that great, because class average itself is 80 and he also has got 80. So same way is benchmark. Now in stock market we have two kind of indexes available. There are two major stock exchanges, BSE and the NSE, and two indexes are Sensex, which is owned by the BSE, and the Nifty, which is owned by the National Stock Exchange. Now when the index moves, say in a year 25%, and if say me as a fund manager who is managing others' money, and I have 10 lakh of rupees of a client, and if I am delivering him 15% returns, which means I have underperformed the Sensex and my alpha is straight away negative. Now how much negative is it? Now assuming Sensex delivered 10%, and my fund has delivered say the PMS has delivered 15. It means I have delivered 15 minus 10, which is nothing else but 5 alpha. This is the meaning. So I have done better than the Sensex. Same way, if Sensex has gone up by 15% and the fund has delivered 10%, I have delivered minus 15 alpha. So the alpha basically measures the fund manager's capacity or the ability, and hence it is called alpha, and people have to really focus on this, because it depends person to person on how much money they are able to generate on your investments. Now, how do we measure risk? So this is a nice measurement tape given to you. Definitely we cannot use this and measure. There are other kind of measurement tactics which we are going to use. Now I will talk about, say, measurement of risk. Now there might be two classrooms again. Two classrooms. The say the class 1 and the class 2. Now most of the, say, top 50% of the students have got I should say above 50 marks, and maybe another, or let me put it like this. Say there are two classrooms, class 1 and class 2, and we are trying to measure which class is actually more risky. Class in the sense, I mean the school and the class. Now here we find is the maximum mark in class 1 is maybe 60, and in class 2 is 70, or maybe I can say even 80 marks. Okay, and the minimum marks in class 1 is 55, and the minimum mark in class 2 is also say 40 marks, which is quite low. Now there might be average also for class 1. Say it is going to be, say, around 50, or maybe let us keep it as 50 marks is the average, and class 2 also average is 50 marks, which is a better class. This is the next call. Now if you have to bet on one of the classrooms, and say students of which class are going to really excel in life, not in life, at least in the exams, which one would you bet on? I would definitely bet on class number 1. Why? Because the maximum could be 60 and the minimum could be 55, which means the volatility in the marks is quite low. Whereas in class 2 the maximum is 80, and there are students which are performing so bad that the average that the low is also 40, and there could be many students who have failed and the average is still same 50. So when you look upfront, both the classes are going to look identical and same, and you might say both the classes are performing well and they are going to get same marks in the board exams also. But we know over here that class 1 is more stable, and hence I will bet on class 1. Now same way, how is risk measured? Now the first concept while measuring risk is your variance. I think most of you must have learnt this in your school and colleges. Now what is variance? Now variance is nothing else but measurement of dispersion of a set of data points from their mean. I will repeat. It is a measurement of the dispersion of a set of data points from their mean, which means if I am having, say, a set of data points which is say returns, maybe returns of year 1, 2, say I have returns for 5 years, and the returns are 10%, minus 20%, 50%, maybe another say just 10%, and 20%. Now is this going to be a safe bet? Absolutely not. As I was just giving you example of the classroom, the volatility in the returns also is quite dangerous, and hence you would actually not be looking to invest in this particular asset. It might give you next time 100 also, but when it comes to risk, earning is not important. Capital preservation is first criteria, and hence you might get 100% returns, but you might have to still sacrifice because the fund can also give you minus 100%. It could be possible, so you will just try to avoid it. Now how is risk rather variance measured? Now if you go to your workbook, page 36 of CPFA, you will find they have given the definition is as it is a measure of variation of possible rates of return of the investment from the expected rate of return. Now, what is this expected rate of return? It is your mean over here. Now, the formula is that is sigma squared. This is your sigma. It is called that is variance, otherwise called as sigma square, equals summation. That is summation. Summation means total of all the points. Summation of probability into possible return. That is the possible return minus the expected return whole square. Looks interesting, right? Now, this is